Hey gang, welcome to Mixing Music Analog and mixingmusicanalog.com and here on the YouTube channel. And we're doing I'm doing a little 24-hour follow-up video to our Neve MBC converter, stereo converter. We're comparing that to the PreSonus Quantum 4848. Part 1 just dropped the other day, about 48 hours ago, roughly. And, or did it drop yesterday? Might have been 24 hours ago. I forget, but in the last 24 to 48 hours, that video went live. A lot of people have watched that video, tons of comments. I'm really excited. I'm super thankful that you guys are all participating and sharing your thoughts and downloading the files and checking out the two files, or the 3 files that we have for that particular test, and then giving us your opinions in the comments. And again, it's first thanks to everyone for just being really cool and being polite and being respectful. That's awesome. I'm telling you, this community is getting better and better all the time. I think we've gotten rid of 95 or 98% of all the riffraff. So that's great. So what we have left now is just a really cool community of people who are just sharing their opinions and everyone just respecting others, and that's awesome. So a couple of things. Now I wanted to follow up like I did on the Dangerous Music one, because some of you that are new here, we're getting so many new subscribers every single day, which is great. May have not have seen the Dangerous Music series of videos that we did where I did this follow-up, and I want to make sure a couple of things I wanted to point out, and then I wanted to share something with you guys that I think will be exciting because you guys asked for it, or some of you have. So first and foremost, thanks for checking out the video. Second of all, reading through all the comments this morning and answering most of them, and again, it's so incredibly cool how everyone just hears things different. We have everything from, in the comments thus far, and I don't know how many comments there were, but there were enough. We have everything from people can't hear the difference at all. Most people, not most, several people said that, to we have people that could swear they hear the difference and they could swear they know which ones are which, and they put it down and they are so sure of themselves, and most of those people were wrong. In some cases, were wrong on all 3. Which I think is so funny. And I think some of you just guessed like, I would have done, just took a lucky guess. And some of you got a couple of them right. Some of you got a couple of them wrong. I think there might've been 1 or 2 that actually got it right. But again, it's just so funny how we all hear things differently. And for the people that think you're so sure, you know which one is the Neve, you know which one is the one with the transformer. At least 2 of those, it's really the Quantum. I think that's great. We're having fun, right? So, but here's the thing for people that didn't see the Dangerous Music. Now, also keep in mind when we're doing these tests that there are going to be some slight variations in sound, and some of you obviously heard something different between the 3 files. Some of you didn't hear anything, and that's okay. Some of you heard differences, right? Here's the thing you need to keep in mind about all of this. And again, we're going to have a video coming up to prove this statement. I know David S.J. is working hard. He's trying to get it done. It's in the queue. We're going to do this. But one of the things you got to keep in mind with all of this stuff is that, and we did this test, you just haven't seen the video yet. If you run a pass through the console, let's say on the 48, we did this on the 4848, right? Ran a pass, full mix, ran a pass, did our print track. At the end of that print track, rewind it to the beginning of the song, and then did another print track right underneath it within 3 minutes of each other, right? Nothing changed. 2 passes on the Quantum 4848, one right after the other. If you take those 2 files and you bring them into Dave's studio where he does the geek out, those 2 files do not sound exactly the same. They don't know 100%. They are different. Why is that? Because you're running, and there is a slight sound difference. And again, and I mean slight, I mean subtle. Some of you may not hear the difference at all. Some of you will hear a very subtle difference, much like you might have heard when you listen to the Neve print versus the PreSonus print in the files you guys just downloaded. Some of you guys will hear that difference. The difference is, and what we've proven, is that because you're running 2 passes through a console, I don't know how many pieces of hardware on that particular example that we're going to show you, but probably 10 or 12 pieces of gear, right? And then back in, that no 2 passes are going to be exactly the same. So when you hear a subtle difference between the PreSonus and the Neve, right, box, or the PreSonus and the Dangerous Music, or coming up the PreSonus and the Burl, or the next one I'm going to show you in a minute, all that means is that some of that difference is the mere fact that we ran it through all the analog equipment 2 times in a row. And it's not all the fact that one box sounds different than another, or in this particular series of videos, while we're having fun doing this, that one converter sounds different than another. You may think it does because you're hearing something different, so you may be attributing that to the converter. Some of that might be the converter, but some of that is definitely the fact that we just ran it through the analog equipment twice and it has nothing to do with the converter. Now, how much is it? Is it a 50-50 split, 60-40? We'll never know. I mean, you know, this isn't NASA here. We're not a science lab. We're never gonna know. But I'm kind of chalking it up personally to saying, let's just cut it down the middle. 50% of the differences we're hearing are the fact that we ran it through the analog gear twice, regardless of the converter that we use. And then the other 50% of the difference could be the difference between those 2 particular pieces of gear, for sure. And in that, it could be that the converter is a little different. Could be. We don't know. Okay, so keep that in mind. So what differences you're hearing, and let's say, for example, because we had a couple of people in the comments say this, and I want to try to shed some light to help you maybe save you some money. There's been a couple of people in the comment sections of this part 1 video and also in some of the dangerous music videos that are asking and saying that after they've heard our test, they're considering selling their interface or their converters to go buy the dangerous music, or go buy the Neve, or go buy the Quantum if you can find one on the used market. And what I try to tell people is don't do that. You are chasing a ghost in the dark. Don't sell, if you already own a good interface with good converters, again, a quality piece of equipment, whether it's by Focusrite, PreSonus, Burl, Neve, Dangerous Music, or anybody else, don't sell that piece of equipment because you watched our videos and said, oh, I gotta go get the Dangerous Music because it sounds better. Well, again, some of that has nothing to do with the Dangerous Music box or the Neve box. It has to do with the fact that we ran it through the analog equipment twice. See what I'm saying? So I want to try to encourage you to take a step back. Don't don't buy on impulse. Don't watch the video and think that we're saying, oh, wow. And even if you listen to the Neve versus the PreSonus and you think that there's such a remarkable difference that you need to run out and buy the Neve and spend $4 grand to upgrade from whatever you're currently using, I would take a step back and pause and think about that for a minute. Unless you have unlimited amount of money, then hey man, rock on. If it makes you feel good, hey, who doesn't like getting new gear, right? Even if it gives you the perception that it's better, if that's what you want to do, go do it. But what I would suggest to you is that if you're going to spend that kind of money, think about where else in your studio that may be a more sensible way to make a real impact in your studio, right? In other words, is your weakest link your converter? Probably not. We're proving that throughout all these series of videos, all the way back from the Apollo to the Dangerous Music to the Neve to the Burl. We're proving that the converter in and of itself is very, very minimal difference, if there's any at all, if you could even hear it at all. And if you're going to spend $2,500, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and some of you guys are talking about converters that are $7,000, $8,000, $8,000, $9,000, talking about the mastering grade converter, the other buzzword that we're about to possibly debunk, and we'll talk about that in a second. That money, your converter is probably not your weakest link. Again, everybody's situation's different, but I would bet you 95% of you watching this video right now, your converter's is not where you would want to invest that money. I would tell you, take a look at your room, take a look at your treatment, take a look at your monitoring system, take a look at any room correction you may or may not have. That makes way more impact on the final result of what you're producing than a converter. Way more. Far more, 10 times and 11 times on Sunday, right? For sure. So just think about that. For the ones that are thinking about it or have said in the comments, I'm thinking about selling my gear and going to buy this. I would say don't do that. Don't think that you're going to go out and buy a better converter and it's going to make all the difference in the world. It's not. And like a few other views that have commented, you've kind of mirrored what we've been saying on this channel, myself and Dave, and even when we have guests on like Charlie from Ultimate Studios and Ernesto. You know, some of you have made this point, and you're right. It's not about the gear. The gear is fun. We're having fun. It's fun to play with the gear, but it's not about the gear. The converter is not going to make that big of a difference in your production, if any at all. It's not. It isn't. Now, maybe I'm going to hear a converter box at one point in time where I'll change my opinion, but so far we've done 4 of them and none of them make enough of a difference to sell what you currently have and go out and buy that. You're better off using that money to make more of an impact in your workflow and your setup. At least that's my opinion. And so I only wanted to say that because when I see people in the comments saying that stuff and then looking for advice, I just want to make sure that, and I've said it in the videos, but I take this responsibility seriously. When we're showing you gear and we're making recommendations and telling you what I like and don't like, it's not to tell you to go out and buy the stuff. Everybody's situation's different. I'm just trying to give you a point of information, and hopefully it helps you make a decision. And just don't run out and buy something because you saw one of our YouTube videos and you think it's going to make that big of a difference. Because like I said, what you're hearing in the difference between these audio files may have very little to almost nothing to do with the fact that it's a different converter. It just may have to do with the fact that we ran it through the console twice and through all the gear twice. We know part of that is true, and we have a video coming, I promise you, in the near future that's going to prove just that, because that is an important point that nobody talks about. Okay, I hope that's clear, and I hope that clears anything up. And again, this is really, really cool. Now, for the other folks, there's a couple of yous that have wrote some pretty lengthy comments in our Dangerous Music videos about converters and how we're testing what they would consider an older technology converter, and the Neve and the Burl and the Dangerous Music is old school stuff or older technology, and it's really not going to be any better than the Quantum, and have suggested that what you really want to do, Dave, and I love this, is you really need to get a mastering grade converter. And I always throw these up in quotes because, again, that's another buzzword that I hear all the time, and I just think it's just like when I hear the word null test. People throw around the word null test in the analog domain, and we have another video coming. Dave's already recorded it. It just hasn't been live yet, to show you why in the analog domain, a null test between these files means absolutely nothing. Zero in the analog domain, which is what we're working in here. In the box with plugins, it's different. He has a whole video that he spent a long time putting together, and I got to thank him again publicly. You got to give some David S.J. some love for doing this, because this is not easy, what he's trying to come up with, to try to bring you information that is accurate. So when you hear these words on YouTube, null test, and you think that makes a difference, in certain cases it does, and in certain cases it does not. And you're going to learn why. Same thing with mastering grade converter. But I've been fortunate, so some of you have recommended, and again, you could be right about the mastering grade converter, but some of you have commented about a couple of specific pieces made by Merging Technologies out of Sweden. I think it's Merging, we'll look at it in a second, that make these mastering grade converters, and that if we really wanted to test out something against the 4848, some people have suggested you need a mastering grade converter. And someone had suggested a box that I actually got in here. And that is, and I'll switch screens here and let me explain. I know this video is a little long, but I hope you guys are enjoying this. So, some people have suggested that in this particular audio interface, the MT48 by Neumann, and we're going to scroll down here and read this here, that this is considered a mastering grade converter. And right here on the Neumann website, the MT48 was developed in close cooperation with the switch manufacturer Merging Technologies, whose high-precision analog-to-digital converters offer a staggering dynamic range of 136 dB. This gives the MT48 4 times the resolution of comparable audio interfaces. So a couple of views have called out this particular company, Merging Technologies, and I guess they're on the leading edge. And this is where people that, record labels like Capitol Records and stuff, they're using converters by Merging Technologies. I've been told, I don't know if this is true, some of you have said this, and that this is a newer technology or the latest technology, the latest and greatest, and this is something that is going to be superior to the stuff that we're testing in, say, like the Burl, the Neve, the Dangerous Music, and the Quantum, the PreSonus unit. So I've been lucky enough when someone called out this particular audio interface. Now this is an audio interface. I'm sure a lot of you know this is a desktop 2-channel audio interface. This is not just a converter box. However, I've been fortunate enough, again, with my buddies at Sweetwater, they had asked me to do a series of videos of this for my Home Recording Made Easy YouTube channel as just a desktop interface, because there's a lot of stuff in this box that goes way beyond the converter. So it's an $1,800 2-channel desktop audio interface, and I got it right here. Here it is. Okay, I got it in hand. I just got it. I have to start learning it and start doing videos for Home Recording Made Easy. That's really why I got this, was to do it for that, to say, how does this stack up as a small little all-purpose interface for the home studio environments, because it is quite expensive at almost $1,900. But what we're also going to do once those videos are done is we're going to do a test over at the console. I'm going to patch this in. We're going to print on a different machine, and we're going to test out these merging technologies. Yep, we're going to test these converters, the digital to analog converter that, according to Neumann and to some of you, is a higher grade converter, and this should be better than the converters that we've tested. So that video is coming. We'll see if a mastering grade converter actually is going to make any difference, or is it going to sound just the same as what we've listened to on the first 3 tests that we've done, or actually 4 if you include the Universal Audio Apollo stuff that we did a year ago. We're going to see. So we're going to do that. It's going to be a little bit before those videos come out, because I got to get these other videos done for Home Recording Made Easy. But I wanted to let you know in this video that I have this in hand. It is sitting on my desk. People have said this has a much better converter. It's got 136 dB of dynamic range. We're going to push that 136 dB. We're going to print it at hot levels. We're going to print it at not hot levels. And we're going to see when we print that print track against the 4848, is there really any difference in sound? Any more of a difference than what we've already heard in the Dangerous Music, the Neve, the Burl, and the Universal Audio? Maybe some of yous are right. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just teasing you. My gut tells me it's not going to be really any different, but I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, I'm going to come on here and tell you that I was wrong, and that maybe there's something to this. I've yet to hear a converter box yet that makes enough of a difference to where it's worth the money. As I said earlier in this video, maybe something like this box, although on my console, this wouldn't be the interface. It gives us the full interface, maybe, but maybe we would get a 2-channel converter that had this same converter in it that's in here. I don't know. So I just want to let you know that we're continuing on with this, because I did get this as part of a sponsored video at Home Recording Made Easy, so I did not have to break out my credit card for this. And thank you so much, Sweetwater, for doing that for me. We're going to get a bonus video out of this. And as I've said, any company that's watching this, Lynx, Antelope, Apogee, or anyone else out there that makes the converter that thinks it's going to be better than the stuff we've already done, and you want to work with us here, I will be happy to test it out and to bring my findings in a very objective way, not a subjective way. And I'm hoping that we hear something that's better. I want to be able to hear a tangible difference that I can say to you, yes, this converter, newer technology, higher end converter, does make a difference, and maybe it's something to consider. Because in all the boxes that we've tested so far, there's not been enough of a difference, and in some cases, to my ear, not any difference to where it warrants the extra expense over the Quantum 4848s. So I hope this little update, I know it's a little bit of a ramble, but again, I want to keep you guys informed. I want to talk it out with you guys, and I want to let you know what we're doing here, David and I, to try to bring a set of videos to this topic that nobody else is doing. Nobody. Not in the way we're doing it. And we like learning, and we enjoy this stuff, and we're having fun geeking out. So anyway, make sure, again, if you're first time here, you're just getting here into the channel, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It really helps. Thumbs up, participate below in the comments. That's the way I know what kind of content that you want. And keep on following us, and keep on being cool and being part of the discussion. And most importantly, have fun with all this stuff, because that's what this is, right? We got to have fun. This is hella fun. So I hope you're all having fun as well. And until the next video, I've been Dave with Mixing Music Analog and mixingmusicanalog.com. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next video.